Linda Clark, we are live. Welcome
Hi.
to the Always Athens podcast.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, and right, like, how did you get in the room? So, we are in the Innovation Center, and at the Innovation Center, you have a plaque on the wall. Pretty big deal around these parts.
Well,
But I guess, man, I don't want to. We could even talk about Athens. Like, you're generationally from here. We don't even have to start at the Innovation Center.
yes, let's start
Start in Athens. Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah. Cool.
So my great-granddaughter, Ellie, is 8th generation Athens County.
Whoa.
So one of my ancestors, Josiah True, came to Athens after the Revolutionary War, and he had land up where Millfield is now. And there's a road called Truetown Road on 13 that turns left after you pass Millfield, and it goes to the house that my grandfather was born in,
Wow.
John Sprague. So that's fun to think about every once in a while.
That's good. So is it like, so it's after Millfield, but like before Redtown, you're saying?
Yes,
Like,
before Redtown.
okay.
And Josiah True is buried up behind the house.
Wow.
There's a cemetery. If you turn left when you see the house, you just drive around to on top of it, the hill on top, and you can find his grave there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Are there other family members like around that area in that same cemetery, or is it just like kind of a one-off?
Yes, in the same cemetery. And so my mom was the historian of our family, and I kind of half listened to her. And now I wish I'd listened
Yeah.
more in depth. But it's fun to think about that. And there's a dormitory at OU named True House,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and that's from that family.
Wow.
So Josiah had a son called Austin True, and Austin had a daughter called Sarah True, and she married Levi Sprague, she was the mother of my grandfather.
Okay. That is, yeah, I think you're doing all right keeping track of that. Gosh darn. I couldn't go past my grandparents, honestly.
Yeah, it's fun if you're retired and you have time to do
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Also, maybe, I mean, I don't know. Like, if I didn't, like, growing up, if I wasn't, like, watching Minecraft YouTube videos for, 7 hours a day, like, maybe, I don't know, that is interesting. That's a long heritage, though. I mean, so, like, did you ever, I don't know. I mean, they all lived in Athens, like, nobody ever left? Like, is it, like, consistently since they came here the first time, like, you've just always had them here?
They've always been here, but not the whole family. I
Yeah.
mean,
Some people take
travel,
them,
and I had probably a great uncle go to Indiana. I traced him down there.
Yeah.
Rising Sun, Indiana.
Wow. What does it mean to you to have, like, that long of a history? Or, like, what does it even mean to you to be from Athens?
I love Athens. I love Athens, and I feel comfortable here. I feel in place here. We've done a lot of traveling all over the United States with our horses, my husband and myself. We raised Missouri foxtrotting horses for 30 years, and we would take the horses when they were 3 and 4-year-olds to the Rocky Mountains or the Smoky Mountains or mountains in Pennsylvania. And when they came back, they were very well trained, and we sold them as mountain horses because people like to go to the mountains, and the horses were...
Who are you selling to? Like, cowboys out west? Like, who?
No, we sold into 18 states and into Canada in those 30 years. I kind of kept track. And it was a business, and I love business.
Yeah.
We sold it to people who want to trail ride horses. And so it did a lot of marketing. We were at the first equine affair at Dayton, and now it's I don't know, it's about 30 years old.
Where did you even learn like how to train a horse in the mount? Like, so what? Like, there, are you taking like two of you are taking 6 horses and just taking them out separate times? Do you have one person per horse? Like, what do you mean you're taking them to the Rocky Mountains and you come back and they're trained? That seems like a big statement.
Well, we train them to ride at home.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you condition them, and it's just the two, my husband and myself. So we would take 2 or 3 horses.
Mm-hmm.
The third horse was to pack in our gear.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you come back, the horses know how to pack. We would rotate riding the horse.
Okay, that makes sense.
And different horses were the pack horse. So we had pictures. I had a website in 1986 was our first website.
Wow.
And it was created by a university student.
That's so cool. That is wicked.
Yeah, because I worked through the Small Business Development Center here in Athens.
Which is like what?
SBDC, they're up on the, well, I don't know where they are based now. They may be based here.
Wow. And that was doing something similar to like what the IC is doing now, then you're saying? Like just
Well, they were helping any business get started.
Yeah.
They're federally funded.
I see.
And so, that's a side of my life that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah. Who was in horses first? Was it you or your husband that like?
We both were raised with horses.
I see. Okay.
And then our daughters were in 4-H, so we took them to the fairs and the horse shows at Albany and Shade and different places. And then they left home, and we were left with a couple horses, and we started riding.
Wow.
And then we found friends that like to do the same thing.
That is pretty
So
cool.
we still have lifelong friends from that.
Wow. That is crazy. What was the hardest part? Was it just like finding people to buy the horse? I mean, horses are expensive. It's probably a small market, but what were the challenges running that small business?
Well, we both had full-time jobs.
Yeah. I mean, and kids, right? You have grandkids,
And kids,
right? Yeah.
yes. So I would be at the barn at 5:30 in the morning, and then come in and take a shower and come to work. I worked for the university for 31 years, and then my husband would go into work here at OU also. At the time he was working here, and we both retired from here. So he worked in the maintenance department, and then he would come home and take care of evening chores, and then we would ride in the evenings for whatever horse needed trained. Marketing to me is fascinating. It's the blood of a business. If you have a good business and nobody knows about it, then what's the use?
So that's marketing is like telling people about your products.
Yes.
Yeah.
In any way you can. So, for example, the website for our company, email had just started. In 1986, we were just getting not laptop, but desktop computers. And so all the time we were running our business and having kids, and we were going to school also. Hocking College had classes starting at 5:30, and then you went till about 11, and you got home about 11 that night. So it was quite busy.
But if you worked at the university, couldn't you have gone to OU for free? They just didn't have like a night course that would work with your schedule, or?
They didn't have any night courses,
Oh,
but
you
I
didn't?
was taking classes here too.
Oh, I see.
And this is over many years.
Yeah.
And then I didn't take classes in the summer because I wanted to be home with the girls.
Yeah. Nice. So like semi-entrepreneurial, but you always had a job. Like, was it like kind of a passion? Like it was just like the stress. Like why did you always keep a job? Why didn't you just try to like ride horses if you enjoyed it? Like if you also enjoyed your job, that's why you stayed there. Like or it just made sense to have the security of a stable income and then kind of like do this. I mean, gosh, getting up at 5:30 every day, taking that. I mean, like God, that's a packed day. You know, you're working really hard. What for?
It's a passion.
Yeah.
If you have a passion for something, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I worked for the stability.
Yeah.
And now, as retirement, I can do anything I want to.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, and OU had such great benefit package that I didn't have to worry about saving for my retirement. It was just a different time.
Yeah.
And so my husband and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We built 3 houses.
Wow.
One
Accomplished
house,
people.
one house after we retired, but we built 2 houses. One when the girls were small, and then after they left, we built another house.
Nice. Have you? How many different places have you lived if you've been here your whole time?
3.
Wow, that's like not a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So we bought and sold land on a road in Albany called Co Road,
Okay.
and that allowed us to be debt free. And if you can be debt free, that's the
Yeah.
major goal. So
Yeah. Wow. It's three houses. Interested. What was something that caught my attention? Oh, you said you're interested in marketing. Like, what about it? What about marketing? Like, why this may work, or why this statement may work, or what may not work? Like, what part of marketing?
well, I actually did a whole DVD on marketing at
Oh,
one
wow.
time that the National Business Incubation Association sold. I don't know how much they sold, but one of the things I did here at the Innovation Center when I was in charge, I would buy time on WOUB, NPR, in the mornings drives and the evening drive time. I wanted people who were listening to it would know I would feature a business at the Innovation Center, but I would also say, and what we were about. So that was a way to get information out to people.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know I know marketing's real, but I don't market this podcast really at all. And I just don't understand it. I think that word of mouth, like I only believe in word of mouth.
Okay.
Maybe that's just like some small town, like mattress money, you know what I mean? Like just like old school, but I just don't get it. I don't, so I don't know. I don't feel like I market it at all.
So, are you on YouTube?
Yeah. Like I'm on YouTube and Spotify.
Okay.
I think it's possible to get it onto like Apple Music or Amazon or also like pretty easily. I just haven't figured that out yet. But two platforms.
So do you advertise
No,
anywhere?
that's what I mean. I'm also like 15 episodes in, so there's not much to advertise. But I guess my idea was to go back to episodes. So like once there's a decent base there, like go. Kind of pick out moments that are still with me because those are the significant ones that I remember, right? So like go back to those and then, maybe cut like a 60-second clip or something from that, like more short form. Like that I think is probably the only marketing idea of like maybe just chop up some episodes here and there. But I guess what I realized is like, like this Living's Traditions thing, like in Pomeroy, that was, or like even like, I think that I am the marketer. Like, I don't think I'm marketing the podcast, but it's like the point of this is just to market you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I don't know, like, it's like, that's what I was like, oh, it makes sense. Like I could push that. I could market for Living Traditions. Like I could make an extra social media post for them, talk about it. Hey, go check out Living Traditions. But yeah, just there's something weird about like, just, hey, come listen to the podcast and subscribe on YouTube. Like I hate that shit when I listen to it myself. Like just when I hear other people say it, it's like, dude, if I like your shit, I'm gonna subscribe. Like stop telling me so that's why I just feel like, and I think word of mouth is the only thing I know because it's like, what do I really mean? Oh, it's like if it's word of mouth, if I'm willing to tell somebody, you know what I mean? It's like you did something right versus just like a marketing I don't know. I just feel like word of mouth is like the only thing that's real. Everything else is just like a short. Like I don't know. Does any of that make sense to you?
No.
Oh, that's okay.
No, because, you have to understand what your goal is. Is your goal to make money on YouTube? Is your goal just to have these and you can listen to it when you're old?
Yeah.
So depends on your goal.
Just to get to like to share the message of like the stories of the people of Athens.
Okay.
That's the goal. The goal is to amplify their voices for the community, and And I mean, I think that there would be people, I mean, a lot of people come through OU and then go on to other things, but I still think a lot of those people have a special place for Athens in their heart. And so, can Tim Martin come on a couple times and like, I don't know, like, yeah, could somebody from outside of, or like somebody, I don't know, yeah, can it go beyond Athens, Ohio, actually, right? Because the podcast is about the people from Athens, but I think OU allows it to be a little bit bigger than that, But it was just kind of why Athens, OU is also bigger because of Athens, right? So I'm just explaining that just on a wider scale.
Athens is here because of OU.
Yeah. I mean, 1804, when was Athens created?
Well, the university was created in 1804.
Like, is there discrepancies of when?
Oh, yeah. So I guess my ancestor, I'm not quite sure how he's related to me, some great-grandfather, he was here in the 1700s.
Yeah, it's like the Chases. They were
yes,
out. Yeah,
yes, they've been here. So there's something interesting. There's a group called First Families of Athens, and it's through the History Center. So you might want to check that out.
Yeah, I've been seeing the History Center. A couple people have mentioned it to me. I've actually never been to it. It's like kind of over towards Obetti's, like up and across the road. Yeah.
It's in a old church building.
The Mount Zion, is that the...
No.
Oh, that's its own church.
Yeah, Mount Zion is different
Baptist
than the
church,
History Center.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would stop in there someday and ask about First Families.
Yeah, that's cool.
I've donated World War II uniforms to them.
Whoa.
And World War I, my husband's grandfather was in World War I, and we had his uniform.
That's great.
The hat, the
You get that stuff
pants.
back, right?
No, we
You
donated
Oh, you
for
did
them
donate.
to take care of it because it just sits around.
Yeah.
And if they can display it or just keep it the way it should be kept for posterity. So we give a lot of trust to the History Center. And they've earned it.
Awesome. Check out the History Center.
Yes.
Yeah, Southeast Ohio.
Southeast Ohio, yeah. It used to be just Athens County, and now it's all of Southeast Ohio.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of, makes sense. What barriers? Athens County, Meigs County?
Yeah, that's just...
Yeah, that's funny.
It's government barriers.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, what other chapters
Yeah, well,
of my life?
I mean, I think the Innovation Center is a huge one. I think that, again, like you have a plaque on the wall talking about your accomplishments here, like how you, being a catalyst to the industry, right? Like, I mean, it's still going on right now. Like, what you were a part of is still, like, here today. And, I mean, you're the first person with connection to the Innovation Center. Like Tim Martin kind of knew, but, I think... Yeah, like what would you want somebody who's never heard about the Innovation Center, like what would you want them to know about the Innovation Center? Who are the people that you want to come try to utilize the resources here? Like, do they have to be a student? Like, can it be somebody just off the street? At what point? Like, I mean, obviously I understand you're detached from it, but like, I don't think that the mission of the Innovation Center has changed much from like when you were here. I mean, is that a reasonable assessment?
I don't want to... say that this is what they do now because I retired in 2009.
Yeah.
And Stacy's done a wonderful job
Of course, yeah.
steering the ship since I've been gone. And Jennifer Simon was before her, between me and her. So she's
I saw
another
a little
person.
blurb about her out there on like one of the columns underneath some artwork. Passionworks art, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there have been 3 of us that have been directors. I think Will Conacher, I don't know if he called himself a director. He was donated the funds, but he was directly involved in some of the early companies.
Yeah. So, well, let's start with like the Ridges. You said that's where you started with the Innovation Center.
That's where I started, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like
in 1993, somebody said, see what you can do with the Innovation Center. We don't should we shut it down? What should we do? And I didn't even know what a business incubator was.
I mean, what was the definition of one back then? Still the same thing? Yeah.
It's a place where businesses can grow and get established and then find other space. So it's space that is appropriate to the business at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we were at the Ridges, and I found that the National Business Incubation Association was created in Athens by the assistant director of the Innovation Center at that time, and she left. Dinah Atkins was her name, and she was very powerful in getting this association started. So I walked down the hall in the old hospital. It was the old health hospital for the, it was the lunatic a lunatic hospital. It had different names over the years, but now it's called the Ridges. But so we were at our companies in single rooms and double patient rooms.
Whoa. It's a lot different than what this type of a space.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we were growing and expanding, and the NBIA was able to tell me what an incubator was supposed to do, and I went to some of their conventions and just learned the trade.
Of business you're talking about, like
Yeah.
just small business,
And
okay.
how you could help businesses, what they needed.
And what were those things that you could help them with?
Well, you needed flexible space that they could move into an office for a month, move out. It's all about controlling expenses for a new company.
Like leveraging the economies of scale of the size of like an organization, like the business incubator, but then passing on that economies of scale to somebody that, I mean, that's the AceNet thing, the kitchen, right? It's like
Yes.
you can't pay for a fully furnished, like professional kitchen, but you could rent it, you know? It's
Oh,
that
sure.
same idea. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And so we have could be used for factory space or warehousing in the
Okay.
back of the Innovation Center. But it's mostly office in the biotech labs. That was something new.
Even back then it was still
yes.
very heavy. Because right now I feel like it still is. Like I feel like
Yeah.
most of the companies are like biotech, PhD, like student in grad school, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was in the 80s, that was quite the trend because it was just starting. And now it's an established businesses.
This is interesting. Like you don't really think about the point of like a successful venture with the business incubators like ends with you leaving them. You know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can work yourself out of rent.
Uh,
As the director, you want companies to move on because you want them to grow.
yeah. That's cool. What are some success stories? Like what businesses like were you really proud of helping and being a part of?
Diagnostic hybrids.
What did they do?
They are now Quidel on East State
no
Street.
way.
Yeah, Quidel purchased them.
Wow.
And so I remember them moving in at the old McBee building. That's what it was called. And because they needed 50,000 square feet at the time. And they had the whole second floor.
Oh,
Yeah,
this seems like very large scale, like comparatively to what you would normally have. Wow.
Yes, so when they moved out, it left a lot of space, but we were able to fill it with other businesses. Third Sun Solar.
I've heard of that. I think there's some stuff upstairs about that.
Yes, and they were bought out by, I can't recall the name.
Like they had a successful exit.
Oh,
That's
they
the
had
point.
a successful
That's the point.
exit.
Yeah.
And the owners were quite well off when they left. Yeah.
What what is it? Is it awkward when businesses fail? Like they can't all succeed, you know?
No.
Like were there similar reasons that businesses failed, or
Businesses fail because they don't have enough money, don't have enough cash on hand. The entrepreneur loses faith, although an entrepreneur, if you're in that spirit, you hardly ever lose faith. But if you don't understand expenses and the competition wipes you out. I mean, only 1 out of 5 businesses last beyond 5 years.
Wow.
So yes, People are going to fail. Businesses are going to
Yeah,
fail.
yeah.
People don't fail. It's just usually, if you're an entrepreneur, you're serial, and you go on to the next one.
Yeah. Were you? Did you have anything other than the horses?
Nope.
The horses took all the time.
No, because I think helping businesses here at the Innovation Center helped my entrepreneurial spirit, because I wanted to see them succeed, and if I could help them, that was my success.
Wow, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's relatable. I think a lot of people you're explaining like you got something out of it, like more than a job for sure. That's what we're looking for.
Yes.
That's why we're sitting in this podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we could increase the economy of Athens County and surrounding counties. Tech companies usually pay more than the average at the time. I don't have any statistics now to show that. So they could go out to the restaurants, the owners, at some point. They have to be successful first.
Yeah.
And I always had this dream in the back of my head that if the Innovation Center was successful, maybe one day my grandchildren would be working at jobs, tech jobs, and they could stay in the area.
Yeah. Well, that's an incredible point, because one thing I talk about like consistently over and over and over again on this podcast is when I was growing up, there was this narrative that was pushed to you sometimes that to be successful, you have to get a college degree and leave the town, or leave the town for the college degree and stay out of town to be successful. I don't give enough grace to that frame where it's just like I get why some people have to leave, or like if there's something you want to do and like you can't do that, and not everybody has to stay here, but this narrative of like the only way is to get a degree and leave town and go do something somewhere else. It's like, it seems like you're trying to fight against that, right? But to create opportunities for that, it's like that is very forward thinking. And I think that's the complete polar opposite of that narrative of like you have to get a degree and leave. I think it's changing. I think COVID helped flatten things out, made people realize like maybe some of those things aren't as like you don't need that to be successful. But I don't know. Was any of that around like when you were growing up, or like did you ever like hear about anything like that? Like those types of storylines, or?
We didn't have any factories in Athens. And my husband at one point was driving to Columbus. He was a welder before he was in maintenance here. So he would drive to Columbus and work, and then he would pay his gasoline bill at the end of the week, and he had no money left.
Yeah.
So that didn't work. So we just created our own, and he found a job a little closer in Bremen, Ohio.
Okay. It's like Logan-ish.
Yeah. Yes. And he also worked in the glass factory in Lancaster.
Oh.
So he's had a varied career.
Yeah.
And sadly, he died last September.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was. It's been tough for all of our family. He was the patriarch. It's kind of hard to even think about that I'm the matriarch of this extended family, but it's an honor, really. All the kids are great.
Yeah. What like being a parent, how did that change your life?
It's a huge.
You're a grandparent, just.
So I had this baby, and I didn't even know that you could buy shoes for a baby. I was 18 years old when I had a baby, and Dr. Spock was the person that you read his book. And so you would read a book and you say, okay, now I have to sterilize bottles. But then my mother helped too. So having a baby changes your life.
Yeah,
and
I can't relate. I don't have a child, but I
Yeah.
could imagine that it would.
Yes, because your whole waking hours, moments, are thinking about the child. And so you have to put your dreams on hold. But then your dreams can change. Or, you take different paths in life. And I was going to Ohio State
Mm.
right out of high school. I graduated from Athens High.
Yeah.
And then I met my husband and
At OSU?
no, before I got
Okay.
there.
Cool.
And so we had this young daughter. And so that changed my path, but it also gave me a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
And so I have a heart for young mothers.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they make all the people in the entire world. Like, there's nobody here that you've ever met in your life that didn't have, like, a mom, you know?
Yes,
like,
that's right.
What is cooler
Mom
than
and
a mom? Yeah, man. You know? I literally a joke I heard this morning is like, the best dad in the world is a mediocre mom. You know?
yeah.
I don't think it's a dig at the fathers.
Comparatively,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just like, man, moms are so, I'm a mama's boy, for sure. I grew up. I'm also the youngest, so it kind of checks out that I'm a mama's boy, but.
Where did you grow up?
682. Like, not in the city of Athens, not in the plains, in this, like, weird, it's a 45701 zip code, but it wasn't in city limits. It wasn't in the plains, so, like, kind of, it's a, in between University Estates and, like, the plains. Like, you know where Vore Ridge is at?
I
Very
know,
close to the
yeah.
corner of Vore Ridge.
Okay.
Yeah. This is, like, a little bus shelter, and then there's, like, kind of empty field where Jim's towing in Nelsonville.
Yes.
He used to live right there. Yeah, like, across the street from Jim. Yeah.
Okay, you could almost walk to town.
Oh, it was great. It was so perfect because I could pee off my back porch and still get to Court Street in 6 minutes and still get to the high school in 4. You know, it was incredible. I didn't realize how good I had it. Like, I did it, it was like Athens is open enrollment. And so some kids are driving 35 minutes. It's just, I never realized, like, I was leaving my house at 7:28 to start school at 7:35. Like, man, I had it great. And that worked out on the bus ride too, because like you could either get picked up like very early as like one of the first kids coming from school, or you could be one of the very last ones. And so, it was great. Like, you could get on the bus early to see your friends. You could stay on the bus longer to like hang out with your friends. Like my bus driver lived just like a couple houses over from me. And, so, I mean, it was beautiful growing up where we did, for sure. And, like, my grandpa, he had, because, like, my dad's side, they're from Albany. They're the Baileys, Steve Bailey.
Okay.
Senior is my grandpa. And, they lived out past, like, the Albany airport. I don't know, maybe, like, another 10 minutes off the road that way. And, they had a farm out there. And so then, like, I could still go out and hang out, drive a tractor at my grandpa's, spread some manure or something. Yeah. But, man, I think I had a great plot, or both at home and with the grandparents.
Oh, sure.
Because similarly, like I only lived in the house. I guess it's different because of college. Like I went to a bunch of different spots, but if you exclude college, then I mean I lived in that one house my entire. Like I was born in California. I moved here when I was 2 though, so I still claim Athens because the only thing I've ever been conscious for is Athens. But we have family out there. But yeah, man, the plains. Shout out to it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, my second daughter moved to California with her husband, and they were there 20-some years in Northern California, 50 miles south of the Oregon border.
Wow, yeah, okay.
And they came back here to live because of all the fires.
Oh, how recently?
2 years now, I think
nice.
They're here.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's interesting. I do think a lot of people move back. Like even if people leave, I think they come back. Not a lot, but often.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Your heart. I mean, Athens kind of grabs your
longs
heart.
for it. Yeah.
And we've driven. My husband and I have driven to California where they lived 6 times cross country. With our little camper on the back of our truck.
Wow, and you were doing it with horses behind you before
horses,
that.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so we've
lots of time on the road.
Oh, yeah. We've been on Route 90, 80, 70, 60.
This is just different 50. Levels in the country. Like,
Yes, if you look at a map, there's and we've driven Route 50 that goes right through Albany. Twice, and it takes you through the middle of Nevada.
That's so crazy.
And so, but we were never gone more than 2 weeks at a time, 2, 3. Our most favorite trip was to Alaska. We drove to Alaska from California.
Wow.
And then we were there 7 weeks. So I keep telling kids, anybody, Go have adventures. Just don't stay in one place.
Yeah. Except Athens.
Except
Come back.
well, because we always came back, and
Yeah.
we loved coming back into the hills. You know, we could have been on horrible interstate and flat land, and then you come back to the rolling hills and the trees. And
Yeah, it's like Nelsonville, that Wayne
Yes.
National. It's like immediately in your face.
Yes.
Yeah, especially from the area. Like, because I lived in Cleveland for a few years after I graduated college. And so then that drive, like, I used my GPS maybe 2 times. And then it was like, oh, okay, there's 3 roads. Literally, you're on 33, you're on 70 for 2 seconds, and then you're on 71 the rest of the way. So then once I figured that out, you know, I just kind of turned the mind off. But gosh, every time, as soon as I started to hit that Wayne National Forest, like the trees are just, man, I'm home. I'm home.
coming south of Lancaster.
Yeah. Beautiful. Great.
So we had the same feeling. We didn't want to move.
Yeah.
We loved to go out and see different sights.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. How's the city changed? I mean, obviously, like, you know, businesses have closed and streets have expanded and stuff. Like, I didn't realize there was an airport on East 8th Street, but, you know, other than, like, some of those things, like, do you think that the energies remain consistent? Like, what about Athens has changed, I mean, culturally, like, community-wise, like, since you've been here? Good or bad?
So you talk about the airport.
Yeah.
My uncle, my mom's brother, had a plane out there.
Yeah.
And then there was Army barracks between the airport and, maybe like where Walmart is or down in that area. And students would rent apartments in the Army barracks. They're 2 or 3 story wooden buildings that were built in the Second World War, I think. So there, we used to walk uptown, and I grew up on East State Street.
Okay.
So we would walk uptown, and my mom always wore a hat and gloves and a dress to go uptown.
Wow.
And there was department stores that you could buy anything you needed. It was way before the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a Catholic school for 8 years, and it was... See, I don't even have any landmarks to tell you. It was beside the A&P store, which now is apartments, behind the Pregnancy Resource Center on East State Street. It used to, where the Pregnancy Resource Center is now, it used to be Castler's Dairy.
Like down towards the end on the right, you're saying?
Well, where the Cornwells have apartments behind that on Stimson. You go down Stimson and turn the first road to your right, it would take you back to where the St. Paul's Catholic School was.
Okay.
And then I went to Athens High in the 9th grade.
Nice.
I had to learn how to chew gum and slouch in my chair.
That's funny. What was there just not Catholic school and like a Catholic high school for you to go to, or like?
No.
Oh, okay.
The parents had to fund it, and after a while, I had a brother and sister that went there as well after I left, but it just got too expensive.
Yeah. Makes sense. Free school,
Yes.
for sure. I want to send my kids to public school.
Yeah.
What was that? What I mean, was that raw? Like even back then, from like going from that, I mean, you can sound right. You chew gum and slash like normal kid things. Like, was there any like culture shock when you like? Were they like you're like, wow, these kids are that savage? Or was like obviously you have experiences outside of the school with them, so like maybe it's not that big of a shock. I don't know.
No, it was just an interesting comparison. And when an adult would walk in the room, we had to stand up.
Oh.
As the class had to all stand up as soon as an adult walked in the room.
This is the Catholic school.
At the Catholic school. Not at
obviously.
Athens High, I know. It was
Yeah.
so I've learned to behave both ways.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Did OU bleed into the high school? Like, it's sad to admit, but like, I mean, there were kids like in high school that were already kind of dabbling into the OU party scene, right? Like, was that shit happening even back then?
No, there was quite the division between college and high school.
Interesting.
Let's say I didn't meet any college guys.
Yeah.
No, we had 3-2 beer. I mean, we...
the like low percent shit.
Yes.
I didn't even know.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was a law. You
But
couldn't.
isn't that kind of a good thing? Expose them to, like, I mean, it's better to, right? Like, you kind of know the kids. You know the kids whose dad let them drink a beer or two, and you know the kid who's it's like the sugar thing. It's the same exact thing. The kid who's never had sugar that eats the entire bowl of candy,
Yes.
and then like the kid that's like, oh, I had a couple pieces of candy, like, yeah, a little ramp. You know what I mean? Like that definitely, like, you knew, oh, like this kid, because it's just like the novelty, or just again, it's like the people worst off are usually the ones that are like overprotected. You know, like the
I
kids whose
believe
dad
that,
let them had a
yes.
couple beers. Like those weren't the kids that I had to clean up after.
Yeah.
You know, so 'cause I think there's something to that. You know.
I believe so too.
Yeah.
But so we were protected.
Yeah.
You couldn't drink high test. I call it high test beer. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Until you're 21.
Yeah.
And then they lowered the age to 18 because,
For the hard stuff, you're saying.
well, we had the Vietnam War going on, and if you could go die for your country, you should be able to drink.
It still is that way. You still register for the draft at 18 and can't drink until 21.
It is?
Well,
No, I don't.
No, I'm saying the opposite. Like you just explained, if you could go
Yes.
die for the country, they'll let you have a beer. Right now, you have to register for the draft at 18, and you can't. I don't even think you can buy a cigarette until you're 21. So you can sign up for the draft at 18. Like you could go die for them,
Yeah.
but they won't let you buy a cigarette or a case. Like, I get it. Whatever. I think that's like a
I don't
over
get
drunk
it.
play. So I get the like. What am I trying to say? It was just like a stereotype argument for young kids right now. Like, you know, I could go die, but you won't let me have a beer. It's like they're getting the beer, man. Like, is the thing. There's a carry out in their
sure.
town that doesn't give a you know, I felt that way here too, but that's interesting. The low beer. I mean, dude, that's crazy. We have. Sometimes I forget how different my experience as a 27-year-old, you know what I mean? Like at this period in life comparative to you, like that's
Right.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
talking about the Vietnam War,
Yeah.
I've had friends that died there. My husband had they had lottery numbers, and yet you got, by luck, you got a high number or a low number, unlucky. So he got a very high number, and he was never
So the
called.
order, not like, or it was just like a bingo. Like
It
if
was
they
like a
call,
bingo,
yeah, okay,
yeah.
like a lottery. Yeah.
Yeah, so you were assigned a number, and it was a lottery, and I don't
Why
know,
would a low number matter against a high number?
because low numbers got called before the high numbers.
I see.
So it had to be men and women who died before you, or went to the war and came back. So the Vietnam War was a horrible time in the country.
Yeah. Well, did you support the war?
No,
Yeah. Most people didn't, is my understanding. Right?
no, it was
Yeah.
a stupid war. And I still can't watch Jane Fonda today because she went. I don't even know why I brought it up.
Yeah, we can move past it. That's
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
okay.
that's crazy. Dude. Well, also, I mean, were people being shitty to the veterans when they came back from
Oh,
Vietnam?
yeah.
Like, what was that about?
They would throw eggs at them.
Because
they
they
were
wanted to fucking
patriotic.
fly over there. They didn't want to fucking go to Vietnam.
No.
So, but then, did they misunderstand who their frustration was with? Like the people that are
Absolutely.
projecting onto they just didn't understand that
I'd
it's
like
not the
to-
soldiers' fucking fault. Yeah.
I would like to think that.
Yeah.
Because they were so against the war, they thought the soldiers were for it. Well, you were just unlucky to get there.
Yeah.
So our guys were just cannon fodder again, like
sucks.
any other war.
Yeah, man.
So that's, so that had a lot to do in my early years.
Activist against the war, you mean?
I would have been if I didn't have kids.
Yeah.
In 1968, I wanted to go protest the war at the DNC convention. I think it was in Chicago, and that's when Bobby Kennedy got shot.
Wow.
So we had a lot of our leaders killed.
Who's we?
My generation, my age group, well, the countries.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that left an impact on us. We don't want war.
Yeah, it's a pretty reasonable request.
Yeah.
You know, who does? Who does? I think that the misconception is that there's a gap between what you see on social media and like the reality of the world, and the farther gap that there is between like what you believe is true on social media and what is really true, like the wider that gets, I think the worse it gets, 'cause it's just like expectation and reality aren't meeting each other. But I don't think I've ever met somebody in my entire life, like my age, younger, even a little bit older, that like for sure would disagree that war is a good thing. I mean, yeah, for sure. I don't think there's a disagreement about that.
I think there are times when, like the Revolutionary War,
Yeah.
and when you're forced into it. I mean, if there's a third world war, we'll fight. You don't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nobody likes it. Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
So.
What was so Vietnam? That was bad. What's between that like in the early 2000s, like the Iraq Kuwait shit, Desert Storm.
Mm-hmm. My son-in-law was in.
My dad was in Desert Storm, 82nd Airborne.
Yeah.
Wow.
My brother was in the 82nd
really?
Airborne in the 1950s.
Wow. Wow.
That's interesting. And then there's the Korean War in the 50s. See, that we just forget.
Yeah, you're right. I literally, like, I couldn't name them out, you know? Kind of to my point earlier, like, we're so stimulated. We're overstimulated. I feel overstimulated, especially getting back on. I got off social media. The only reason I got back on it was for this podcast, but sometimes, like, 5 minutes of social, literally just fries, like, it just gets me. There's just so much, and, like, so then I kind of like voluntarily withdraw, you know, like I don't consume any legacy, any media. Like I don't really consume, like, I don't know. Like I heard about the plane crashes, you know, like 3 weeks after, just like from somebody like, hey, yeah, could you believe like I don't know. So like, I just feel like always behind, I feel a little bit disconnected, like a lack of camaraderie, because it's like we're not experiencing the same information. You know what I mean? So I get a little bit of that, but I almost choose that. I'd rather kind of like not have anything to talk to you about current, like, or from like a current events perspective than to, just engage in a lot of that energy. I don't know. But then you lose out on the good things too. Like that's the battle. It's like, all right, deal with the shitty things because the good things are there too. I don't know.
Yeah, So I took up an app called Duolingo, and I'm learning Spanish.
Cool.
I try to keep my mind active. Last year, I became a ham radio operator.
Oh, that's like a CD radio, like what a trucker's using?
No, you have to pass a test
to use a ham.
License. Yeah.
Wow.
You can listen on a ham, but you can't speak on it.
Why? Why do you have to have a license?
Because it's controlled by the FCC, and there's specific rules that you have to know. And
of like what not to do, what could cause problems
yeah.
and stuff. Well, like what's an example of something that could be a problem?
You could start a war.
Oh.
If you said something bad. That just popped into my head, but it's a lot about electronics and electricity, and I have no brain for that. I've never, it's like a language, and I had to study that to pass the test.
Why did you want to get your ham radio license?
So if the world goes to hell, I would be able to help my family communicate.
Wow, that's a pessimistic take. That caught me off guard. What do you, like, what? I mean, you're talking about like some Marshall's Law, like you can't use your cell phone anymore.
Well, no, what if the cell phone towers are gone?
So it's like, it doesn't even have to be Marshall's Law. Just something happens to that. Or something happens to the internet.
And it could be a solar flare from the sun. Take down all of the electronics.
It's self-sufficient. It's a step further towards that direction. That kind of makes sense. Wow. So only because of that, how else do you get into that? It's just like one day you're sitting on your couch, you're like, you know what, I need to go buy a ham radio and then pass this test. Like, where did that come from?
I don't know.
It seems like you do a lot. It seems like you've done a lot of things. Wow, really engaged in your own life.
Yeah. So I was just trying to think, well, what can I do for my family? I mean, I've got 6 months of food in my freezer, but if the freezer goes...
Oh, wait, is this the matriarch thing? Is this, you're like...
Well, maybe, I don't know.
Wow.
So what could I do for my family? And we had CB radios for years in the truck, and so I'm comfortable with talking on a CB.
So, what is the difference again? Is it just strength or like the waves that you're using?
It's the power that
Yeah.
you use. You can speak to Europe
Oh,
with
a
a ham
ham.
radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the CBs are like 5 watts, and you might have 100 watts or more, 1,500.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a pretty significant
Yes.
difference. Wow, cool.
So it's kind of like a gift that you have that you.
Yeah. So you knew your way around CB radios, and then that just organically pushed into the other. So how did you have to go to a study program or something to take this ham test, or who's the organization that regulates that?
Right.
Who decided? Like you know, well, you're saying the FCC is that the people that the federal what is it?
Communications
Commission. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay.
So there's Athens County Amateur Radio Club that I joined. And
Athens County Amateur Radio Club.
Yes.
Wow.
So a ham is just a nickname for an amateur radio operator.
Okay.
And they were so supportive, and they gave classes once a week in the winter, like for 3 months. And there's a book. And then I found an app, Ham Radio Prep, and I kept taking the tests over and over again. The test was handwritten, and I got a good score on it. So I am now a technician. And then there's 2 other higher levels you can go.
Is it just like ability of the equipment keeps going up as you go up?
Yes, and you understand antennas better and what kind of antennas you need at your house, or if you want to take your radio mobile, you can go out somewhere and talk. And you can put it in your car, just like a CB radio. And we help with the Athens Marathon. We're stationed at different places with the Athens Marathon, and then we call in to the net operator, and then they can tell the officials the first woman and the first man that got to these sites. Or if somebody is
this
injured.
the radio club that you're talking about?
Yes, this is the
cool.
radio club.
Cool.
And so all of this, they're doing something called the Gravel Challenge in July. They'll do a field day where they can try to get as many contacts as they can. But all of this is preparing us if there's ever an emergency. We'll know how to work together. We'll know how.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So,
How many people are in this club?
30?
Wow,
I'm
that's
just
more than I.
guessing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you were gonna say 7. You know,
No.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool. And how far of an area is that? I mean, this is like all 30 of these people are in Athens. Like, is there somebody from Meggs, somebody from Jackson, somebody from Gallia, or like how far does this Athens thing stretch? Just this radio club.
I don't know. Well, somebody comes over from Parkersburg.
Okay, it's like 30, 45.
Yeah, and then they started a new club in Meggs.
Nice.
So
that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's just like-minded people wanting to explore what you can do with
Yeah,
this.
how could somebody find out more about that? Do they have a social media page or a website? How would somebody find out about the Athens County Radio Club?
Athens County Amateur Radio Association.
Oh, okay.
ACA.
All right.
RA. There you go. .com.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. So that's the website. The acronym.
I would look for .org because
You know,
it's an
before
organization.
I post it, I'll find a link to it
Yeah.
and just put it in there.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Because if other people want to do it, they just contact them.
Yeah. No, that's cool with the marathon stuff too. Like, I never thought about like how you kind of keep track to make sure that somebody didn't just like cut the course 22 miles. You know?
Yeah,
That makes
they
sense.
could.
That's cool. I thought they did that with like the little tracker things. It would make sense to also kind of have a video, or well, not video, but just eyes. Yeah.
They didn't always have trackers.
That's true.
Yeah.
How long have you been in this radio club?
Oh, since March.
Yeah. Okay.
January, and I took my
Nice.
test in March.
Wow. How cool. So, very recently.
Yeah,
That's like a couple
very
months ago.
recently.
Wow, how cool. What other interesting things are you doing? Gosh, that got me. That one. The horse thing was cool. I think that one caught me off guard more than the horses. That's wicked.
I want to learn Spanish. I don't know
Yeah.
why I have this need to learn things.
Is it you were just like Spanish is something I could do, and then you downloaded the Duolingo app. Wow.
Yeah. Well, one of my granddaughters did it for a year,
Oh.
and she's back in it. She was finishing her master's at OU, and she had to give it up for a little bit. But, so I have my grandchildren. I have 6 grandchildren, and I'll have the 7th when my granddaughter marries a guy June 7th
Wow.
at the Zinner House
Cool.
here in Athens.
Yeah, yeah.
And they all have doctorates or master's degrees, or they're all either in school or working.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of my one grandson. I have 2 grandsons. I'm proud of both of them. But he did a 4-year internship with Claypool Electric to
Cool.
become an electrician.
Yeah, like an apprenticeship. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and he made more money in his apprenticeship than any of my kids have.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Did he go to Tri-County at all or anything like that? Like just the apprenticeship?
Alexander High School.
Nice, nice, yeah.
And some friends of his got him, thinking about the apprenticeship.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so now he's a project manager. And
That's awesome. Yeah.
he and his wife Lexi have the little girl, my
Beautiful.
great-granddaughter.
Great. Wow.
Yeah.
Is being a grandparent cooler than being a parent? Like less responsibility?
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
You
you
just get the fun stuff?
You get the fun stuff. And you feed them sugar and send them home.
That's funny. And great. That's cool. I mean, I've seen like my grandma now. Like, well, I have nieces and nephews, so like I've seen her be a great grandparent. And that's cool. She's definitely, I could just see on her, the joy that she gets out of it.
Yeah, grandkids are why you have kids.
That's so much work, man. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Another thing too, there's even the parent thing, like, because you hear like the joke that, 18 years, you got 18 years to take care of him. Well then, and then it clicked for me, like my brother passed away in 2023. And so then I watched my grandma consoling my mother as a 55-year-old, or 52. Sorry, Mom. 52. With this, 50 years old at the time, whatever. So she was like, 50 years old. And I just understood, like, that's her mom. Like, that's my mom. And that's her, like, I was like, damn. So then, I don't know, maybe like an hour later, things calmed down. And then I'm talking to my grandma, and I said, hey, Grams, like, did you think that when your daughter was 50 years old, like, damn.
Yeah.
50 years later, you're still, God, like, I don't know. That just, like, holy shit. That scared me, when it just kind of, I don't even, like, it was just, I didn't, like, internalize it. It was just all at once. Like, all at once, just an understanding. It was different. Yeah.
And that's what's so special about these families, like yours and mine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so tragic when a person doesn't have a family to lean into when there's hard times. And I so appreciate close families.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody lives either on Coe Road or 3 miles away.
That's cool. That's
Off of 681.
That is cool. My girlfriend's family is very similar. Everybody's just tucked in right there. It's a beautiful thing. Growing up, I always made the joke that I was going to build a cul-de-sac in the woods just for my family. Like literally, like whatever. We'll just send everybody's house like a couple 100 feet off the cul-de-sac. It'll be okay. We'll put a little community center in there. Like basically, I wanted to start a commune with my family.
Yeah.
And then I realized, maybe there's some better routes. It's okay. I'll drive 10 minutes over to my mom's place. But yeah, I mean, that's why I came back from Cleveland, was all family, personal things. Like I wanted to get involved with the community again. It was very hard. I mean, maybe I didn't do a good enough job kind of like trying to set roots, but maybe I kind of always knew I wanted to come back. When I left because I thought I had to leave. And then I came back because I knew I didn't have to. I felt trapped before I left the first time. And then I realized leaving the first time, like, it's this forever. I'm not trapped. Like, I could decide tomorrow that I'm out of here and I could go,
Yes.
Like, it's like control has been turned back inwards towards me. I appreciate that, for sure.
Yes.
Did you ever have chances to leave? I mean, it's different, I think, 8 generations deep, but like, why did you never leave? You had the opportunity. You're going to the Rocky Mountains and selling horses all over the country.
Yes.
Like, you had options to go other places. Why would you keep coming back?
Because family was
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
My parents, my grandparents, Pete's parents. Let's see. Pete at one time wanted to live in northern Manitoba, Canada,
Oh.
where it's cold. And I said, no, I'm not going
No.
go. I just said, no, I'm
Wow.
not going. And
Yeah.
I hope I think he forgave me.
Yeah. So yeah, okay.
So
'Cause
when
I
you're
didn't even consider
married,
that.
you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
you're right.
have, you have to agree. And if you don't agree, at some point, your marriage will end. But what is sad for me today is that tomorrow would have been our 60th wedding anniversary.
Yeah. I mean, 59's not. Holy shit. That's a beautiful. What? So how do you do that? How do you do something for 60 years? Like 59, 60. Let's round that shit up. Yeah. Like yeah. I mean, gosh, that sounds challenging.
It is. It was. I
Yeah.
mean, you both feel like you give 110%.
Yeah.
Sometimes you love each other and sometimes you hate each other, and but divorce was always out of the question.
Just like generationally, or like
But
just specifically the two of you. Like that was just never.
I think both.
Yeah.
We were both so stubborn that,
Yeah. Okay.
and we had the kids, and you didn't want a divorce because of the kids, and then you just grow into a pattern that works for both of you.
Mm.
And we've always loved each other, so that's what kept you going. And so one of my son-in-laws, I have two, parents are celebrating their 70th.
Wow.
So I think in families you see examples, and you don't really, and you just wake up one day and
You're like 59.
yeah, you just wake up because you have all these different chapters in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could write a book on one chapter.
That's funny.
So life keeps changing.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is your favorite chapter? Just retired, paid
When
off.
I was 40,
Oh, really?
because you're free enough to do things, and you're healthy enough to do things, and I don't know. I look back on my life, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Chapter.
So yeah, great. What do you regret? I mean, you don't have to get too personal.
Oh no, looking back, I don't regret anything.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Because life works. You just make life work.
Work with what you got.
Yeah,
It's the entrepreneurial type
exactly.
shit. So, when you said that like entrepreneurs figure it out, like, it's like, well, that's why they work, because they work with what they got. It's like, it's not if it's gonna get done. It's how is it gonna get done.
Yes.
Oh, well, this went away. Okay, well, like, how are we gonna figure it out? What's the answer? There's an answer. Like, let's find a solution. That mindset. That's very powerful. That's. I mean, that could take you anywhere with it. It's like there's never a barrier that you can't take responsibility for overcoming.
That's interesting because I've always been known as a problem solver.
Wow,
I
okay.
love to solve problems.
I mean, the that makes sense. Checks out. You're at the Innovation Center, like incubating these businesses,
Yeah.
just solving problems for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm a futurist.
What does that
I
mean?
love to look into the future and see. I could see this building, not this particular building, but I could see a building where people could grow their businesses.
Yeah.
So you have to dream a lot. But that's
like
after I
doing that.
found out what an incubator was.
Yeah. Wow. What do you hope? Like, my favorite thing is just like to play thought experiments, like remove boundaries of like literal physics, whatever. So you're futurist. What would make you really happy for Athens in the future? Like continuing for like things like AceNet to go, like continuing for the Innovation Center? Is it the university to continue expanding? Like, what is success for Athens? How do we as a community, like, kind of to your point, keep money in the community and get people's salaries that allow them to have the disposable income to support those like, how do we continue doing that?
Keep it a secret.
That's yeah. A couple people have said that to me. Hey man, you're kind of fucking this up for us right now,
Keep it
man.
a secret, but people will find us. We have the tourist group that tries to bring the tourists in. Tourists are great because then they can leave.
That's true. I mean, my favorite 3 months of the year are summer. Like, I can get a parking spot on Court Street every day of the week. You know, I can get a beer within a minute of walking into the bar.
Yeah.
Love the students, love them for the community, but no, I did for sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So go travel and come back.
Yeah.
And you can tell people you live in a sweet spot in the U.S.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
Speaking of travel, a girlfriend and I are going on a Viking River cruise.
Viking River, what's that?
Well, it's a company called Viking River Cruises, and
it's a cruise. Okay.
Well, it's not a cruise. It's Viking River journey. It's a cruise, I guess. So we're going down the Danube River. We fly to Germany and go down the Danube. We'll see Austria and Hungary.
That's crazy.
This in the fall, and you just stay on a boat and you cruise down the river.
That's weird. Have you left the country before? I mean, it feels like you're pretty well traveled if you're going to like 3 spots in one trip.
I haven't been to Europe.
Where have you been?
I've been to China and Japan.
Wow.
And Mexico and Canada.
Wow. I've never left the country. Honestly, I don't even want to. America's fucking sick. I
Yeah.
love America. I haven't seen all of this. I've been to a lot of states, but I've just never been interested in leaving the country. That's cool. How different are those places? That's a bad
I
question.
don't know.
Yeah.
So I've got some relatives that came from Switzerland. Someday I might go there.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
So if you can learn your heritage,
Yeah.
it can be an interesting ride.
I have to call up the pops.
Ancestry.com.
Oh, is that I've never like used it. I mean, have you had success with that?
Yes.
Wow.
I have.
Well, like, would my family members have had to have like also logged on?
No,
like,
no,
it's just
no.
like court records and shit, like birth records.
They will find hints for you
Wow. Okay.
if you have a membership. You
Got
have
it.
to pay for it.
Yeah. What don't you have to?
Yeah.
You know.
Right,
consultation services from the Innovation Center. Once you're a member, that's.
There you go. Very true.
Yeah. That's it.
So I am starting to ride my horse again
Oh.
after getting back into horses. We have them on the farm, but I live on a farm.
Where at?
Co-Road, 681
that's right.
north of Albany.
I think. Wait, was Josie? No,
Josie,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, she was just explaining that to me. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
So I'm struggling to get back into horses, so I have a trainer to help me.
Oh, nice. Are you taking care of those horses alone? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Well, Josie helps, family helps
Nice.
if I'm not there.
Shout out to the family.
Yeah, shout out to the family.
Cool.
We take care of each other's dogs.
Yeah. That's how it is for sure.
Yeah. So, and I told you about the wedding coming up. We're really all hands on deck for that.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. So the granddaughter who's getting married, she graduated from the Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Wow.
Our family has hundreds of graduates.
That's awesome.
From OU.
Yeah. What, from OU?
Yeah,
Wow.
just from OU.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So multiple,
Legacies, yeah.
multiple generations.
Wow. Tied in. That is pretty crazy.
And Josie's got her master's from OU in business.
Yeah. At the Innovation Center.
Yes,
Kind of,
I know.
like, to your point, right? You wanted them to work for the companies that the Innovation Center started, but I don't think it's, like, too far off base to be, like, helping those companies still, you know? That is pretty cool.
Not in my brain.
Playbook, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. Wow. This has been incredible. Oh gosh. I don't know. I collect myself. Why do you think that Athens is what do you think keeps Athens Athens? Like,
Small town feel, people helping each other. There's a Facebook group called Women of Athens. Somebody will say, I need this or I need that. There's somebody who speaks up, says, you got it.
wow.
Or just needing support, mental support.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. Somebody speaks up and gives them the resources. It's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I think, at the heart of Athens.
Community.
Yeah, community. And anybody on our road, there's been 25 houses built on our road since we moved there in 71.
Yeah.
So I don't know everybody on the road
Yeah.
now, but all you had to do was walk down and ask somebody. You could have it, whatever.
That's the thing. Like, I can't drive on Fisher Road without every single person waving.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh,
it doesn't.
yeah.
I don't know who they are. I
Yeah.
don't know. I see him a couple times a week. Yeah, it's the blue Ford guy. Yep,
Yeah.
there's the Mazda guy.
Yep.
I think that's special.
So I don't know. I've not lived in a large city,
Yeah.
so I think people are afraid to look each other in the eye.
For sure, there's so many people that they're not important to you. It's like that's what it felt like to me, because I was like, look, it could have been COVID too. I don't give enough grace that we were coming out of COVID when I had this experience up in Cleveland, but I went on a walk every single day after work downtown. Like I live downtown, and so like, I went for a walk every day, and it's not that nobody would ever look you in the eyes, but yeah, most, and this is all just my projection. Like I could be completely wrong. It just seems like you're desensitized to the people, right? Because there's so many, and it's like, or it's just like the sense of community. It's like that person is. I'm not in the community of Cleveland with that person, right? It's not until they put on all the garb. It's like, oh well, now that we're wearing matching Browns shirts, like, oh hey, what's up, man? Like, oh shout out, like this. The sports are the sense of camaraderie and like the sense of community and the sense of togetherness. I only ever got that in sports. And I only ever saw that from other people in sports. But so that's what there's so many people, as you're desensitized to them, or like, I mean, I get it. Like you looked at those, you walk past somebody that's like cracked out, and it's like they kind of look a little, so like I get how that just years over years of seeing that, or just, like, I don't know. I could relate to that desensitization, but it only drove me back to Athens faster. I mean, there like was this little town Lakewood, which is like, it is very similar to Athens. Like even the vibe of is like where you look down a street and you're like, okay, that's a family's house, but like that's definitely a college rental right there.
Yeah.
Like just like you could see an entire street of college rentals or an entire street of like families, and so like you kind of get it because of the CSU and whatnot. So like Lakewood is very similar to Athens. And it's a little bit younger. It felt a little bit, like just you see, a family walking down with a stroller. I mean, you even see that downtown too. And those were kind of the people that would acknowledge you or just kind of say hello passing. We're like the families, but it's like, some finance bro in his little Patagonia like jacket. Like he just doesn't, he's going to blow right past your ass or whatever. Like some dude in a suit fucking like, can you believe that you were in that guy's way? Like, who are you? You just got in this guy, So I don't know, a lot of like egos and out of characters, but I never get that in Athens ever. Like somebody that I don't know will, they'd like strike up a conversation with me, waiting in line for a I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure that is everywhere. Like, but.
And I feel safe here.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I wouldn't do this now, but when we lived on East State Street when I was 12 years old, I'd walk uptown to go to the movie and walk back by myself in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
That is a young girl.
That is crazy.
Now I understand why my daughters and grandkids protect their kids so much.
Yeah.
Because of the trafficking, but it was a different time.
Yeah. Well, I think some of what you're saying is still relevant. Like, what is the phrase that I use now? I understand why people come back to raise a family here. Because if you do live on the west side, like you can let your kid walk to the end of the street to meet up with the other kids, to get on the bus in the mornings, and you can, whatever, just kind of send them, like you can, there are spots here where I think you can still get that, like, opportunity to explore safely. Right, because like you need to give that to kids. Like they need the freedom to like, again, we just talked about the over-parenting can lead to, mishaps. But yeah, that's interesting. Family, that's what you think keeps Athens Athens.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, I could relate. That's my story as well. Wow. This is awesome. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. It
Who
was fun.
who are some people that you think would have some good stories to tell, or would be good like representatives of Athens, or have like good ideas, or I mean anything? Who would you recommend to bring on and amplify a voice of?
Chris Cornwell.
Chris Cornwell. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know her?
I do not. I mean, obviously, I know the Cornwell family.
Yeah.
I know of the Cornwell family,
Okay.
but I don't know any of them yet.
Chris used to own a jewelry store in
Yeah,
Athens.
up where North End is at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she makes custom jewelry now. But she's a childhood friend of one of my daughters.
Cool.
And she's been on the Athens scene for several years now.
Nice. Chris Cornwell. Cool.
It just popped in my head.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Awesome.
If I think of others, I will email you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Linda Clark, 8th generation family here in Athens. That's awesome. And what was the one thing? So the Athens County Amateur Radio Association. Check them out. Yeah.
And the History Center.
And then there was the History Center, and then Women in Athens. What did you say it was?
Well, it's a Facebook.
Facebook page. Yeah.
And it's monitored, so.
Yeah. So, but if you're a woman and you're looking
Yes.
for a community, Women in Athens.
Yes.
Check them out on Facebook. Awesome. Well, again, thanks for your time. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday. This was great.
Thanks, Tyler.
Perfect.